What a day this November the 9th has been. 25th anniversary of the Berlin Wall breaking down. It was Remembrance Sunday 2014. Lest we have forgotten the glorification of war. Does nobody actually remember what happened in World War I? The answer is no, because there's no surviving World War I vets anymore. So literally, we've all forgotten. If we hadn't forgotten, we wouldn't be glorifying new wars like the new conflict in Syria. But more than that, Catalonia have voted in resounding victory for independence. Not that it was a binding referendum or anything, but still, that's probably why they were able to get the result, because it wasn't binding. The Spanish government would have probably looked to corrupt it, like the UK government corrupted our independence campaign referendum. Anyway. Hi, my name is Jay Wakefield. Welcome to this Video Some Frontier video. Today we're going to be having a look at this Compaq Armada 4131T. We're going to be re-establishing the Windows 95 3.1 dual boot on it. This is a Pentium 133 with 32 megs of RAM and a 3.2 gig hard disk, but it also has a slice. I came to power it up tonight. I'd been doing an experiment on it before, but I must have formatted the hard drive, so there's nothing on it. So, what we're going to do is we're going to hope this floppy drive will at least work enough. And the first thing that we need to do, the very, very, very first thing, is I want to set up the diagnostics partition. That is the first thing that's going to happen. So like I said, there is absolutely nothing on the hard drive. So we're going to load up the setup diskette, and it's probably going to tell us that we need to restart with the other disk. Nice. There's a bit of skin screen missing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in a moose. There's a moose loose about this house, right enough. I'm guessing a few have been waiting for me to say that. Let's see now. Come on. Make sure, I don't want to bend any of the pins, obviously. So it's the wrong way up, obviously. Nice. Came to a good start already. Come on. Yay! There we go. So what we want to do is install computer setup. Diagnostic partition does not exist. Use the PC diagnostics diskette to create one. Oh, okay. So what we're going to do, exit the utility, press enter to continue, and then that will reboot the computer. Either a Pokemon just leveled up or I've got a tweet. At least a Twitter notification. You'll have to forgive me, this floppy drive is on the way out. These 41 series Compaq's floppy drives, they leave a hell of a lot to be desired. See what I mean? I've just written this disk, and look, it's behaving like there's nothing on it. There we go. The hard drive does not have a diagnostics partition. It is strongly recommended that you allow this program to create a diagnostics partition and install the correct software into this partition. To create the diagnostics partition, you must have the diagnostics diskette and the setup diskette. Your system must now be rebooted to continue the installation process. Once the system is rebooted, the new diagnostics partition will be formatted. The files will be copied to the partition. Please ensure that the diagnostics diskette is inserted properly in drive A. Well, I can't promise anything. This drive will act like it's not even been there. Oh yes, and this does need a new CMOS battery. I will probably get one. These are quite easy, I think, to get and install. So that shouldn't be a problem. So I believe what's happened now is a partition has actually been created. The diagnostics partition is being formatted. To create or upgrade the diagnostics partition, you must have the diagnostic diskette and the setup diskette. Excuse me, the following prompts will ensure the proper diskettes are available. Please insert the setup diskette. I will obviously relabel these. Please insert the PC diagnostics diskette. Copying files to the diagnostics partition. Please wait. Hope it does it. I had to start it again. But now it actually seems to be doing something, as I can hear seat noises coming from the floppy drive. Before it had just completely crashed. I realised I could remove the floppy disk and it wouldn't do anything. Not even say that, you know, it couldn't read from the disk, so I knew that something had went wrong. So now I'm just kind of waiting, hoping that this will actually work. Once it does, then I'm going to obviously, well, I will boot into Acronis OS selector and make myself a FAT16 and a FAT32 partition. Now insert the setup diskette. Loading setup diskette. So hopefully this should work. Always try and keep a copy of the Armada images, because they seem to be impossible to get from Compaq's website anymore. The Armada setup disk images. However, if you have the correct restore CD that goes with your Armada, it does actually restore the partitions, as I've shown you in the past, with the Compaq Armada 7800 and the Compaq Armada 1700. Right. Installation of the diagnostics partition is complete. In the future, you can run the Compaq utilities directly from the hard drive. To do so, press the F10 key at power up time when a large block cursor appears in the upper right corner of the screen. This utility is blah 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 blah. Exit from utility to return to DOS. Yeah. Now, I'm going to show you. So as it's counting the RAM, which hopefully if I get a new CMOS battery it won't do that as much anymore. And then a large block cursor will appear, and at that time it is my duty to strike F10 if I want in the partition. Ready. 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 Where is it? Well, I pressed F10 anyway. And here we are. This utility is provided to help you set up, diagnose your computer. You should use this utility when you want to change a computer's configuration and when you want to change or test your computer's options. To continue to the next screen, press Enter. So, the computer setup, the computer will now restart, and basically what will happen is it'll boot straight into the diagnostic partition. And now it's booting. Oh, computer setup does not run on this system. Gee, thanks. I've obviously installed the wrong version of computer setup. Well, isn't that nice? Yeah, I probably need to try and get hold of the right discs. But, oh well. Whoops. The partition's there. It doesn't really matter to me, the partition is there. So, the next thing I want to do now is install Acronis OS selector. So let's go and do that now. Okay. So, Acronis OS selector is booted up. Now, I could install it onto either one of the partitions that I plan to create. But that's just what you'd be expecting me to do. No. If I click Next, I want to install OS selector. Installation program has not found a partition suitable for OS selector installation. Installation program could check for possibility to automatically create OS selector partition. Press proceed in order to check for such possibility. So what will happen is it will install it on its own partition. So I can format either one of the other partitions and not upset OS selector. I think that's a pretty nifty wee trick and should always be used. It never really clicked that I probably should be installing OS selector in this way. Okay, so it's found it can do it. Installation program is able to perform automatic creation of a FAT partition for OS selector installation. The following actions will be performed, and it says what partition is going to be created. And it's only going to be 11 megs, so that's absolutely fine. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to install Acronis OS selector to this partition. And then once it's installed, I can actually create my other two partitions. So once again, next, yes, install, and there we have it. There's the Compaq partition. And here's the Acronis partition. Now, none of these will be given a drive letter. They're all hidden to the operating systems. So, let's say, for example, I just kind of put one partition and install Windows 95. All I will get to see is the C drive. In fact, talking of Windows 95 install, let's do that. Let's do that now. And with Acronis OS selector installed, I can do some tricks. Can remove this disk. And there you have it. The machine is bootable. Oh, and it has detected Compaq setup. Nice. Anyway, that partition's created, so I can actually go ahead and delete the setup partition and then recreate it. The space is there for it. However, what we need to do now is make a Windows 95 partition. So I'm going to press Ctrl-D to go into Disk Administrator. Yes, it does look a wee bit messy here, but all I'm really bothered about is this. Nope. This. 3 gigs free. 3.0 gigabytes. So, what I want to do, I want 2.0 gigs for Windows 95, very nice. And then I want 1.0 gig available for Windows 3.1. And I've made them both primary, so both of them will be bootable. And I want to create those partitions. And now to insert the disk, boot from drive A, my ultimate yellow boot disk. This one goes out to the blondes I know. So there we have it, internal CD-ROM support. That's what we want because we'll be using a Windows 95 boot disk. To copy all the files over, which is kind of good because I need a cup of tea. And what I like to do as well is to format the I like to reformat the partitions. In your own time, obviously. There we go. CD-ROM drive has been detected. So I'm using the /Q switch to make it a quick format and the /S switch to copy the system files over. So I'm going to make the hard disk bootable. At least this partition. While I'm at it, I'll hunt round for my big case of CDs, and that will give me access to a Windows 95 disk. Okay. So, yes, we want to look for hardware. I've just found out that the right arrow key doesn't work. So I could tap out some really offensive messages in Morse code and the machine would not be any the wiser. I don't even know what I'm doing. All I really know is SOS or SMS. Check this out. That's SMS. For anyone who didn't know, the special ringtone on old Nokia phones, the one that went beep 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 beep. That was actually spelling out SMS. in Morse code. The more you know. I do wonder, though, if it's economically even viable to fix this machine, because the floppy drive's unreliable, arrow key broke. It's a shame because I really like this machine. You know, it's good to have a Pentium 133. You know, and it's been one of my first machines that I've had. You know, it's been there with me for a while, but it's unfortunately it is really starting to show its age. And it has had a fair few parts along the way as well. Install this TCP/IP. And the thing is, I really can't install. I can't play any DOS games. Okay, the Slice has a joystick port, but I can't play any DOS games without the keyboard fully working. This is an 800 by 600 laptop display. And, no, I don't want to create a disk. And, yes, I do believe I will be going and making a cup of tea, because it's... yeah, I need a cup of tea. That's what to do. How magical! Cup of tea in my Yes Scotland mug. Never give up the dream. And look! The first part of Windows 95 setup is finished. So, now we just click finish. Some people on Twitter think they're so funny. Seriously.
I'm back.
Oh, talking of funny people on Twitter, here's Billy Core.
Hey.
Hey. We're still short one Luke. I think he's still eating pasta.
Wow, that long?
I think he went to Italy to... yeah. I think he went to Italy to grow the corn which would be used to make said pasta. And so some old Italian guy could look over his crop and go, Bella. Mwah! Bellissimo. So what were you saying?
What are you doing?
He doesn't, ladies and gentlemen, Billy doesn't actually know that he's just walked in on a video.
Oh.
He could have just came for the can and I'd have had it recorded. So far we're on with installing Windows 95, and I found out the right arrow key on this machine doesn't work. Which is probably why it was sat with no operating system in the first place.
So you say you're installing 95?
Mm-hmm. And it's going quite well. Next is MS-DOS and Windows 3.1. Although how I plan to do that with no right arrow key, I will never know.
You have a keyboard you can borrow from a similar machine?
I sent it on its way to... Do you know what? No. Even then I didn't have one because the keyboard on that was broke. The only keyboard that was around was the one that I got for Luke from the original machine. That was one of the only working parts. Yeah. Still waiting on that video. Need to get a CD drive or a slice or something. Yeah. See, this floppy drive, it could be independent, you know. It's hot swappable. Well, not quite hot swappable, but you just kind of hit a button on the side of the chassis and it comes skating out. I'm gonna sort the date and time out. Oh, you think it's January 1980? How cute. I said cute like normal there. Hey, look, Garfield, I'm cute.
Still kind of hard to believe normal is male.
I know. Hang on a minute. It's the 10th today, is it? My time zone. We've passed the midnight barrier by quite a way. It's 1:04 AM. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
There we go. Don't want that. Don't want that. And we're about ready. Trouble is, I believe we might need to boot from the Acron SOS selector diskette to reactivate it. That's all we have to do though, is to reactivate it.
Yes, it's still easier than activating the competent Windows 7.
Believe it or not, yes. And I get the feeling that the Control Alt and Delete keys aren't working properly on here. I might try rubbing the contacts with some alcohol or something. All I have in the house is...
I was about to suggest that.
All I have in the house though is whiskey.
Yeah, you don't want a front contact.
Boot it back up and it'll be an active matrix model, passive matrix model. I was like, what the? See, how do you get a sober display? 4131T. See, as long as you've got that T on the end, with T you can be sober.
Yep. And apparently I can go to WXII 12 News' website and look at $1 million homes in the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. Okay.
How about no? Cause you, where's a decent millionaire? You know, the only person who I know who's a decent millionaire is someone from Costco, the CEO of Costco. Yeah. He believes in being a liberal, and he's been able to run a business on it. Yeah. Or is it? Is it that guy? I don't know. We don't know. Right. Anyway. Don't. So, we're starting back from the Acronis boot disk. There we go. Now this time when we start, we'll get a lot more options. What we want is activate. And that will rewrite the master boot record of the hard drive with one that tells it to boot into OS selector. And watch what happens when it does boot. We now get options for Windows 95. So what we need to do is Control S into Setup, and we want to delete the MS-DOS 7.1 option. And it will tell us that, you know, there's operating system files that will be deleted. Don't worry about that. Just click OK, and now we can boot directly to Windows 95. So, next thing that we need to do is MS-DOS, and hope this disk works. What I want to do now is I want to play a wee trick. Because I don't want MS-DOS, the MS-DOS diskette actually seeing that there's a FAT32 partition at the beginning of the drive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the setup screen, and then I'm going to right click on boot from floppy drive A and select properties. I'm going to go to the partition tab, and we're going to hide this. I'm going to hide the Windows 95 partition. Contraband, right, thanks. Just don't tell the guard, otherwise I'm toast. I can't go back in that isolation, I swear.
And by the way, contraband is not a musical band that performs during a playing of Contra on the NES.
Carlos. Right, it's going to take a while for me to get into DOS. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll come back once I've installed it. This has decided to format drive C. I'm not sure what it means. What's drive C to this? I don't know. Help. This is going to go well, I can tell. I can already tell this is going to be a wonderful error-free setup. One of the best installations of MS-DOS 6.22 I have ever undertaken. This is,
Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Yeah, oh, shut up. Every time you say that. Every time you say that.
I don't know. I think it only works with Luke, though.
Let's hope so, because I've had enough going wrong. Not that Luke needs it. He's going to come back to his computer and it'll have it'll have transformed itself into a Cyrix CPU-based derp.
With a picture of George W. Bush as wallpaper.
And it's going to be completely closed box. Everything is going to be soldered on the main board. And it's all going to be third-rate components that ought to be switchable. Yeah. And then when Luke comes to vote, he'll have found out that he's been registered Republican. And not in a good way either. It's like, yeah, he'll wake up to find that his vote has been cast. He's written Mitt Romney back in.
Oh yeah, the guy that belongs on a packaging for underwear.
I don't want... I don't want right-wing money invested into my undercrackers. His favourite underpants. Why don't you buy these? These are Mitt Romney's favourite underpants. Cannot install DOS 6.22. An error was detected while formatting the drive.
I think it's the floppy disk.
I don't know. I'm going to do some troubleshooting. Well, in the famous words of Magnus Magnusson from the British Mastermind game show, I've started so I'll finish. This machine is in very, very, very bad condition. The keyboard's on its way out. The PC card slots eject mechanism, well, basically there's just like bits of spring and what have you falling out. And half the keyboard doesn't seem to want to work. However, I started a video on dual booting, so I'll finish. Did get DOS installed. I had to rejig the partitions. Always put the DOS partition at the beginning of the drive, even if you make it primary. Seriously, do that. Because if you don't, then I might just bash your brains in. So we're in Windows 3.1 setup, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to install. Using a Packard Bell CD. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to set it up from here. I'm going to do what OEMs quite often did with Windows 3.1. MD DRVS. So, copy. Hang on. No, I'm going to X copy. ***/E, so that will copy any subdirectories, of which there should be none. C when DRVS. Now it's reading the source files, and there we go, it's all copied. Wait. No. I need to do... Of course, I will need to do this for every other disk. So, I will do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so everything's been copied over. So now, I'll start Windows 3.1 setup. Custom setup, C:\/Windows. Set the keyboard to British. And that trackpad is made by Alps, not Logitech. I always like to move the mouse pointer around. There we go. And now I can type my name in. There we go. Don't want to set up a printer. And away we go. Setting up the main part of Windows 3.1. You could make a cup of tea during this step, but if you're setting up from floppies, you'll be needed to change floppies, so get someone else to make you a cup of tea, and then apologise profusely to them. Or, you know, if you're setting up from the hard disk, you'll probably just about have time to go to the kitchen and switch your kettle on. So we'll do that. There we go. Oh look, that's ready for the next part. Not installing in any network, and we'll make the modifications to the files, and then just kind of have it check the local drive for any utilities. And at this point, I only want to add QBasic and MS-DOS editor. There we go. Now, we're going to restart the computer, and I'm going to show you, hopefully Windows 95 will still be working, even though I've shifted it across the hard drive. Ahem. Hopefully it still works. It appears to be. So just like in my previous Windows 98 and Windows ME setup videos, the Windows 98 2000 setup videos, each system thinks it has drive C. And I don't know why, but the Acronis OS selector partition has made itself available. That's stupid, that is. I didn't want that. Oh look, MS-DOS 6. Oh well. I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll hide it from Windows 95, but Windows 95 still works. I still need to install the drivers on that, and I will do at some point. It's just when I can be bothered, I guess. Right. Bim. See? There's sound. Yep, see, it does have sound. It's just Luke. Here's a driver CD that I made. I'm just going to drop it into the CD drive there. Now what we'll do is we'll have some drivers. So we're starting MS-DOS. And yes, I need to install PC card drivers. The floppy drive has been playing up, so we'll not do it just now. Don't need to anyway at the moment. Let's see if I've got any video drivers, because that's the first and most important thing we need. What about display? Is this? We've got display and XBB. GD7548 display drivers by Cirrus Logic. So it's very similar to the 5280, the LTE 5280, the 1550T, and of course most Packard Bell systems from 1995. Billy knows all about that.
Oh yeah. I think my 822 has the 5334, something like that.
Try to think what it does have. Put it this way, it gives you the same graphical prowess as the Nintendo. Excuse me. Oh, the Nintendo Wii U. No, I'm only kidding on. When Nintendo, you get really good graphics and then they don't use them. Because that's the Nintendo way. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the color scheme. 16-bit color, 800 by 600. Restart Windows now. Yes, I would like to. And there you have it. Look at that. Look at that. That is just beautiful. And either Second Life or eBay has just fired. I don't know which. That was just words. No, that was just a noise. Was that? That's all.
No, it's second, Betty.
Sick. There. Just.
You know what?
What I want to know is.
Sounds like that cash register needs some oil.
Oh, couldn't find the audio drive. I'm having trouble installing the audio drive stuff. Seriously. Let's try audio 2. Yay! Changes made to your hardware require that you restart in Windows. Yeah, okay. Yep, so there it is. Very, very faint, but it's there. I just hope I can get the, oh. Quick release. Something happened. Let's see if I can install the software. It's not gonna... Doesn't have any software? No software? Ah! Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and install everything else, and I'll be right back. Well, a lot of Windows 3.1 is installed, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back down to Windows 95 now and install the drivers for there. Now, as some of...
Or did we, are you filming again?
Sorry, I forgot to tell you.
Alright, well, by the way, we've reached the 4-hour limit on Skype.
Whoops. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, we're going to go to Windows 95. Now, some of you will remember the display driver kind of installed itself. So what we're going to do, just Windows 95, OSR2. But we're actually going to install the display driver from the CD-ROM. Along with, like, loads of other good stuff. First things first. Windows 95. There's Logic. So I'll get the display driver going. So what I need to do, go to the display properties, hit settings, go to advanced properties. Click Have Disk. And then scroll down to the CD drive. Windows 95, Cirrus Logic, Disk. There we go. And there we have it, the actual Cirrus Logic version of the driver. And now Windows is going to power cycle. It's now Windows is going to cycle down to DOS and then back to Windows, as UXW Bell would say. There you have it. We're back in. And now hopefully what we're going to do is get some audio going. So driver, update driver. So we're going to try other location. Windows 95. Oh yeah, of course the right arrow key doesn't work. And it's recognised it. So we just need to now tell it where the rest of the driver files are. Now hopefully when we start back up into Windows, very faintly you can hear it, but there it is. Windows 95 startup sound. Bada bing, bada boom. We're out of here. CD audio, synthesizer, everything's all good. I'm really glad about that because, yeah. So now to install the rest of the Compaq stuff, and I'll be back with you. So I've installed Windows 95 on here. To be honest, with the way this machine is, I really don't feel like doing much with it. So there's Microsoft Works for Entertainment Pack for Packard Bell, WinRAR, and PaintShop Pro, and I've put the Clouds desktop background in this Microsoft Plus as well.
Well, I love the Clouds background.
It is nice, actually. I will say that it's very nice. However, I think now is a good place to end this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you have, please feel free to subscribe to my channel and like us on Facebook. The URLs for all that and my website will follow. Billy and Luke, do you guys have anything to say before we go off the air?
I want some food. What do I have to say? Well, not a whole lot, really. I don't have any smart-ass retort this time.
Get out and vote, you lazy...
I did that! Yeah, and now for our...
It didn't, did it? Because the other lazy bums forgot to go out and vote.
and now for our Video Some Force Here editorial, here is Luke Mullen.
Wait.
Well... That's my opinion on bullshit.
Well, I hope to be getting... Well, I hope to be getting a new Compaq Armada 4131T by next week. I'm... For random access, I'm Maria Gabriel.
We should see an increase in the use of Compaq Armadas by next week. Well, that's refreshing.
I'm Tim Bajarin. Tim Bajarin. It's Bajarin, not Bajarin.
Bajarin?
You spell his name with a J, so obviously it's Bajarin. It's Bajarin. It's obviously, I think, a Spanish name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what do you expect? It's like Jennifer Lopez. It's Jennifer Lopez. It's fantastic. Anyway, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you'll all join me for my next one. But for the meantime, thanks for watching, and go and make yourself a cup of tea while the credits roll.